One thing I kept saying to myself as I was watching this film was...
Meteor ship!
Welcome back to Game Over Movie Reviews. If you're new here, I'd really appreciate if you'd consider subscribing. And if you enjoy this video, please click on the like button. It really helps my tiny channel become just a little bit less tiny. Colour Out of Space was directed by Richard Stanley and written by Richard Stanley and Scarlett Amaris, and was based on a short story by HP Lovecraft. And it stars Nicolas Cage and Joely Richardson. It tells a very simple story of a family who are living on a farm whose lives are turned upside down when a meteorite crashes on their property, bringing something with it. I wish I'd not slept on this film so long. It's been on my watch list since it came out. It looks just like my kind of film, a well-made B-movie with thrown in crazy Nicolas Cage. What's not to like? And as it turns out, not much, because I really enjoyed this film. Colour Out of Space is based on one of HP Lovecraft's many short stories. To my shame, I've actually not read any Lovecraft, but I've seen lots of the films that his stories were made into, and I really enjoy his imagination and his otherworldly vibe. And this film has bucket loads of both of those things. One thing this film does really well is it takes its time to let you get to know each of the family members. They all feel fairly fleshed out, and there's something about all of them, really. They're all fairly interesting to a point, some more than others. The mum and dad, played by Nicolas Cage and Joely Richardson, are trying to reconnect with each other after it's made apparent that the mother has had a mastectomy recently, and she states that she doesn't feel whole anymore. And this information is given to us very well. It's subtle. It's not clunky exposition like you see in a lot of films these days. It's shown and not told. The three children, played by Madeline Arthur, Brendan Meyer and Julian Hilliard, are interesting enough, and all the performances are pretty good. Lavinia, played by Madeline Arthur, is the rebellious one, but they get her kind of rebellious, obnoxious balance just right, just about. Benny is the dopey teen. He's probably got the least depth of his character, but he's okay and he's likeable, and Brendan Meyer plays him well. And Jack is the younger, cute, gawky kind of kid who never really gets much screen time in these films. After the meteorite lands, everything starts going weird. The land becomes more colourful. Strange flowers are growing on the land, and Jack seems to be communicating with something in the well. And slowly, because this film is quite slow, some would say to its detriment, some would say to its advantage. I would probably be in the latter group. The characters get more and more affected by what's been brought by the meteorite. Time, colour and perception is altered, and as you might have guessed and hoped, Nicolas Cage goes a bit crazy. The film is generally really great to look at. I'm guessing it has quite a small budget. The use of colour and imagination creates a real sense of oppressive dread. And there's some surprisingly icky and quite unsettling practical effects as the shit really hits the fan. One of the really strong aspects of this film is Colin Stetson's soundtrack. It has a kind of 80s synthy keyboard sci-fi vibe. There are some issues with the film. It's a little bit too long. I think it's about 2 hours long, probably 20 minutes too long, but I quite like the way it does let you build with the characters and you empathise when things start going wrong. Something that horror films do a lot these days is just leap straight to the horror, and if you don't care about the characters, then you're not going to get frightened. There's a subplot with the dude living on the family's property. He's kind of like a hippie shaman who obviously knows what's going on, but he doesn't really. Quite a weak subplot thrown in to probably put a bit more meat on the bones. And a hydrologist played by Elliot Knight. Again, it's a little bit thin. It's a bit thrown in to just probably make the film a bit longer from such a simple idea. The whole film feels a little bit like a Twilight Zone episode, and these extra characters are probably its way of making it seem a bit more like a film. Other than that, Colour Out of Space was a big surprise for me. It was much better than I expected. I love how the film looks. Cast is generally good, and we have a great over-the-top performance by Nicolas Cage as always. The special effects and the practical effects are all very impressive. The soundtrack's excellent, and the whole film made me feel quite nostalgic. This is the kind of film I would have loved to have rented from a video shop when I was a kid. Video shops, remember them?
Sin. Oh, I've not seen that.
Oh, I have. It's really good.
Is it? How many killings?
7.
My score for Colour Out of Space is 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching.
Game over, man. It's game over.